Hello everybody, welcome to our penultimate free-to-play episode. So, you may be wondering, what on earth happened to this deck? Why is it not Rakano anymore? You might also be wondering, where did my 25,000 gold go? Well, answer to both of those questions is that there is a deck that took me to Masters in the other account, and it's really good. It was made by TinMan, who does a lot of streaming on Twitch as well for Eternal, and is a very, very good player. Currently, I believe they've been ranked #1 for the last little while. They might not be now, but they're very, very high up there. And they've been working on various versions of this deck, which is Combrei Aggro. And it's good in the meta right now because there's a lot of protection for your creatures, and they just become incredibly large with a few key equipment, especially from the most recent campaign, which is where all of our money went. So we went ahead and used 25,000 gold to buy Dead Reckoning, and then we shifted a bunch more and built the rest of this deck. So I ended up shifting out a few of our legends we had, say Nostrix, and I opened a Clutch Keeper. We got the Leave a Witness, I got rid of it. I'd been hanging on to it, but we don't need it for this run. So I got rid of Leave a Witness, got rid of a bunch of rares like that, and we made about 11,000 gold and shifted entirely from Rakano over to this. The cool thing is that I didn't have to shift any of our Rakano deck. So our ranked week 4 deck, this is not a bad deck either. We could certainly still do some tuning on it. It could become a little bit better. You could maybe add in some more Deep Forge plates. But it's kind of the same idea, right? We were doing Aegis, like Crownwatch Paladin, Silverwing Familiar kind of stuff. And it's just a little bit better, I think, to have it in the Combrei Aggro shell. Oops, so we're going to be doing that instead. So this Combrei Aggro deck, the way that it's going to be operating is fairly similar in some ways to that Rakano deck. So we want to be able to land like a very quick turn 2 play, either Awakened Student or Crownwatch Paladin. Jugril Amaran Ghostblade is also something you'll play on turn 2, but it's nice to be able to ultimate it right away, so it kind of sucks for it to die. But I wouldn't hold on to them and wait for 7 or anything like that. You do want to be aggressive. So you're trying to land some of your early 2-drops, and then you're just going to follow it up with some things like Auric Record Keeper or Knight Chancellor Seraph, and then slam a Hammer of Might or Inquisitor's Blade onto some of your protected creatures, or alternately, when you have Stand Together in your hand held up, and just bust through your opponent. So the big thing in this deck that it kind of gets over the Rakano deck is honestly Stand Together. This card is absolutely bonkers. Giving all of your units Aegis and +1/+1 permanently just slams the door shut on so many things. You don't have to worry about Hailstorm if you have this in your hand. You don't have to worry about Harsh Rule. You don't have to worry about, almost anything. If you've got an advantage on board, Stand Together just says you win the game. It's so hard for them to come back from it. There's almost nothing they can do. Not entirely, but it's very, very tough to break through. If we have a board advantage and then we get Stand Together in hand, the game's just wrapped up. It just ends things. So the card is very, very powerful. Super, super great to play against a bunch of removal, and there's a lot of removal in the meta, so it's also just the +1/+1 isn't irrelevant either. There's a lot of times where some of the things that do get around Aegis are weapons and killer. Well, if you give +1/+1, that really helps out as well, because of course things like Auric Record Keeper can die to Auric Runehammer, which is the 4/1 weapon. Well, not with Stand Together, then they attack it and it becomes a 5/5. Great, now they can't kill it. Just on and on like that. So it's just a great card. It's hard to overstate how important Stand Together is in this deck. On top of that, you're just playing a bunch of just really good rares. You've got a bunch of silence effects with Valkyrie Enforcer. You have Unseen Commando because this card is absolutely bonkers on attack. It's kind of a staple of basically every mid-range or aggro justice deck at this point because it provides so much power on the attack. Being able to pump your entire team is just very, very good. Inquisitor's Blade is another one of those cards that we got from the expansion, and this card is just fantastic. Flying is always a really good ability to have on a weapon, and with this particular deck, you can do something like Copper Hall Elite where it already has Aegis or Crownwatch Paladin. So it protects itself so that they can't really kill the Inquisitor's Blade easily. And it's going to have other things like Warcry, or in this case, Overwhelm, so it makes it harder to block, or it makes it more important for you to get in damage, where it'll just kind of keep snowballing out of control. Also, of course, works with Drill, Hammer, and Ghostblade, because you can double the attack and health of one of your units when it has the Inquisitor's Blade. And then to top all of that off, the Inquisitor's Blade also has Revenge itself. It has some very weird wording on it, so you'll see it says when the wielder dies, give Inquisitor's Blade Destiny and put it back into the top 10 cards of your deck, which you might know as Revenge. That's just the Revenge mechanic. So why doesn't it say Revenge? Because if it says Revenge, it gives the creature Revenge. You'll notice, like, Fly, it just says Flying. Well, the Blade doesn't have Flying, it gives the creature Flying. So to give the Blade Revenge, they had to actually write it in a different way. Otherwise, it would make your creature come back. But still cool. You do have to have a creature in play when you draw it, because when you draw it and it's got Destiny, it'll come back immediately onto something on your side of the board. But you have to have something. So if you don't have any creatures, that is a problem. Last thing that we added from the expansion is Venom Rider. So I was really down on this card at first. It didn't seem that amazing. It didn't seem bad, but just medium. I mean, it's a 3/3 for 4. That's a little bit of a shot, and it's against it already, because that's not particularly high stats. I mean, if you look at something like Sandstorm Titan, it's a 5/6. Same cost, exactly, so you're kind of like, 3/3. Deadly and Charge is pretty good, so that's fairly solid. The things that I hadn't really been thinking of is that works really well with Unseen Commando, so it does provide a lot of extra damage that way. And it's explosive because of the charge. You can just smash in for 4 instantly if you have an Unseen Commando. When you're already trying to be super aggressive, it's more relevant than I realized. Deadly makes it very hard to block. And the ultimate is more relevant than I realized. A lot of decks haven't been able to deal with it. They've been trying to deal with the rest of our board, and then by the time that I've landed Venom Rider, I've been able to ultimate a lot more than I thought I would when I first started looking at this kind of a deck. And so the ultimate is that you get another Venom Rider. It's Sandstrider? Yeah, Bridled Sandstrider. So you get a smaller version of it that has, instead of Deadly and Charge, it has Deadly and Killer. So you can attack something and just kill it. That's really good. They have to answer Venom Rider right away, or they just lose their best creature, which is really solid. The deck's just been pretty awesome for me, though, in general. So I'm going to run through it. We'll see how well we can do. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that we don't really have a lot more to build. Like, I'm not entirely certain what to do for next week's episode, because at this point, this is the deck. We've built a tier 1 list. This is a month in, and we have what is the deck that took the top ranked player to #1 in Masters. This is it. This is the deck. We didn't have to spend a single penny. We did it in a month. That's how good Eternal is for giving you free cards. This is not the most expensive deck, but it's the top deck. It's the tier 1 list. So, I mean, this is... it's pretty stunning how easy it is to build a collection. There's a lot of decks that we would want to build besides this. Like, there are some more expensive Legend lists that would cost a lot more and we'd have to grind more. But if you like playing a aggressive or mid-range kind of list, you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money on the game. I would recommend spending a little bit just to support the devs, but yeah, I mean, it just shows how incredibly generous the game is. In any case, let's go on and we'll play our ranked games. Okay, well, this hand seems pretty good. Awakened Student on turn 2 into a turn 3 Unseen Commando is kind of what we want to do. See what our opponent's got going for us. Looks, I mean, probably a Felon control list, but it could easily be Scream, or I've seen Scream decks that are running red. There's a bunch of different versions that this could be. And who knows, we're sitting here still in, like, silver gold, so we can run into a lot of things. Oh, okay, it's the Justice Shadow Justice Shadow Primal deck. I've seen this one quite a lot. We don't actually need any more colors. I'm just gonna go Justice, make that a little bit bigger. I'm not 100% certain I want to slam Unseen Commando here. My worry is that they have a Hailstorm, and Hailstorm would kill both. So that frightens me. Enough that I'm going to slow down a little bit. I don't like doing that, but... yeah, I just... it's terrified that that happens. Let's attack with this. I'm gonna play Auric Record Keeper.
Ah, here it is.
Vanquish the Awakened Student. Sure. They do get to draw 2 cards. Wanted Poster has gone way down in value, but still a reasonable card, I suppose. Ooh, Sabotage is particularly bad against our deck. There's not a lot they can sabotage out of us. Most of the time when we draw a weapon, we play it almost immediately. They could still have a Harsh Rule here. I'm just gonna play it safe. They're gonna be a removal pile, so like they're just gonna have removal after removal, and we don't want to just run into it. Because that's the way for us to lose.
Sharpen those
Interesting.
Death from across the
Tavrod.
sands.
I did not expect Tavrod, I'll admit. I'm willing to attack with that, because I can still double block with these. I'm not certain that I'll do that. We'll see what happens. But it might discourage them from attacking. And they have to kill the 3/3, or I just get to use it and... oh. Huh. That's... I wouldn't recommend that as the play, since I'm just going to be able to eat Tavrod now. I guess they don't mind, because they're getting the value out of Tavrod? Huh. Well, they hit off of it. This is a very weird list. I don't know why they're playing Primal. That's the confusing thing to me.
Let them feel your sting.
This looks like a game where if I had been more aggressive and just assumed that they didn't have the Harsh Rule, that we would have just absolutely crushed them. Too bad. I mean, if I had more Aegis, or if I had Stand Together, this is why Stand Together is so good, then I would have been able to just flood the board and have already killed them. We're not in bad shape, though. They still need something like a Harsh Rule to really get out of this. Double Vara's Favor? Nice.
The touch of shadow.
Alright. That is a thing.
Trust in your...
We're gonna need to draw a little bit less power right now. Very, very scared that this is just a Harsh Rule. They'd have to have top decked it, though. I can't imagine they'd have held it that long. Sword of the Sky King. This is quite the list. I have to say, down to 1.
Mind over body.
I've got all my chips on the board. What do you got, opponent? They have a ton of cards. Certainly possible that we can lose this. Another Sword of the Sky King would be a problem. They did have it. Oh my goodness. They actually had it. Huh. Alright, I mean, if we draw power... okay, cool. Then we still win. That is an interesting list. Did we see any reason for the Primal? No. I'd like to have known. I really want to know what they had for that. I didn't expect that, though. Oh! Also, I honestly did not even know that this was happening. Daizo, Cabal Chairman. What is this? You may sacrifice another unit to create and draw Cabal Extortion Scheme? When the enemy player must choose, you draw the top 2 cards of your deck, or you deal 7 damage to them and gain 7. Wow. Okay, I kind of love this. I kind of love this. Oh, I got some stuff to do for our other video. All right, I will be back for round 2. How do I feel about this hand? I mean, we're one off of hammer. This has got to be good enough. Yeah, I should feel pretty good about this, I realized. Took me half a second, but not too long, to realize that this was actually kind of amazing. Sure. It doesn't really matter if we played Seed of Progress or if we played the Diplomatic Seal there, because we're going to be able to get 2 of each, which is all we need, either way. So I don't really want to throw that in yet, because I'd like to put the hammer on it. I'm just going to play Awakened Student and start pumping it up. It looks like our opponent might be on the Paladin list, which has certainly been fun for me. What do we got? Thinking. No! Wow, Sabotage actually gets us. 1 turn short. Brutal. Well, now we're just gonna slam.
From across the sands.
I'm willing to lose the 2-1 at this point, because we've got a huge board lead on our opponent at this point. They're gonna have to make up that deficit fast. Sabotage did nothing last game, but it was perfectly timed this game. Exactly on curve. If they had had it a turn later, we were perfectly fine with them taking our Vanquish, I think. But that hammer was kind of important, unfortunately. Opponent reading Venom Rider a lot. I understand, this card takes some sussing out. Yeah, that's probably correct. It's tough because, I mean, obviously we've got some... We've got a pretty decent threat in our 4-4 here as well.
Time quickens.
Opponent is in a lot of trouble. Auric Interrogator. That is not going to work out well for them. So we have our Vanquish. And then going down to 5, there's probably not a lot they can do about that because they don't have a ton of power. If they had 2 more power, I could be worried about a Harsh Rule, but like just Slay doesn't do it. It kills the 4-4, but then we still have 5, so we still just get there. Nice opponent. Deck seemed decent, like general Argenport kind of list, but our list just drew really, really well, and theirs didn't. They got stuck on power a bit, so we kind of ran them over. Time for game 3. This list is so good. This is why I decided to build this one instead and like just kind of do a full right hook here at the last second away from Rakano. Rakano was easier to start because we didn't need any expansions for it, but this deck just seems too sick to put down, honestly. Oof. This is not a hand we can keep. And you'll notice we ranked up to Silver 1 now, so this deck is definitely going well. This hand is fantastic. Turn 1 Initiate of the Sands, and then we can just Awaken Student. Ooh, actually, can't quite do this. If this was a seat, this would be perfect. Because we would play this and Initiate, and then turn 2, we would Awaken Student, play a power, and have a 3/3 Awaken Student. As it stands, I guess we will Diplomatic Seal, Initiate, and pass. I might end up leading with Crown Watch Paladin then. Oh, goodness.
Defend. Time quickens.
Alright. Let's quicken some time. I'm going to throw a fair number of things out onto the board because most of the time Elysian doesn't run a lot of like the hailstorm, lightning storm kind of problems that we would face here. Oh. They are TJP. That's interesting.
Mind over body.
I might need to be a lot more careful with how I'm flooding the board then. Question is, do I Valkyrie Enforcer? We have at least 2 more attacks before they can Harsh Rule. But they could Hailstorm next turn. If they do that, then we lose everything. I'm gonna guess that in a 3-color pile, it's less likely that they're able to Hailstorm here. Well, they've got the power for it. Turn 3 and 2 of each. That's so good.
Close your eyes.
Okay.
Listen.
That, however, is fine. Ooh, and stand together. Okay, now we're in the driver's seat for sure. So they'll block, and we'll just stand together, kill it. And now a Harsh Rule doesn't matter. Our board is just absolutely massive. We can just keep smashing with everything. What would be the next best draw now is like a hammer or an Inquisitor's Blade. Vanquish. Yep. And then every single creature is going to take multiple removal spells, though. It's pretty much a done deal here.
Time quickens.
Like, good luck getting out of this. How do you possibly deal with this board on 5? And that's why Stand Together is super bonkers. Because in a regular game, they would just be able to Harsh Rule that, but I mean, once we can stand together, there's no way out of that. We're ahead on the board, and they're just stuck playing from too far behind to ever really come back. Stand Together is just an absolutely insane card, and that was one of the best examples of it, because no real way to come back from that. Also, it's important to note that I played my Stand Together right away when they just had no power left. There's not really a huge advantage to waiting on it. There's a little bit, because you might be able to get them where they're trying to use a removal spell, and they kind of waste their turn on a removal spell where they wouldn't have normally. But in a spot like that, most of the time it's better to just slam it. It's something that I've struggled with myself, but it's good to just play it right away, because otherwise you end up getting a little bit crunched on your own power. Like, you have a hard time where you can't land the Stand Together again. So you're stuck like, oh, well, I want to play this creature to pressure them, but I have Stand Together, so I guess I'm just going to wait, and you end up waiting for too long. Also, I've found to not be like too afraid to play Stand Together on 2 or even 1 creature sometimes, if you've got a decent board position. Like, if it's pretty big, they're out of power that turn, and you think that they might have like a removal spell in their hand, especially if you think they might have 2. Where they're just going to have to spend their whole turn doing it. It's fine to just do it. Like, just go ahead, stand together, make it awkward for them. So I don't mind doing that. It's nice to just throw it out right away, and it's still useful because you keep all of the Aegis on it. You don't lose any real value out of it. You might be able to have tricked them into using their turn on a removal spell, but like, not a big deal. How many creatures are going to be able to play to stop a board like what we had? Any case, let's go on to game 4. Oh, our hands have been so good. We're definitely keeping this. This deck has a lot of consistency, which I definitely like. We're just going to turn 2 Crown Watch, turn 3 Chancellor, and then hopefully turn 4 Copper Hall or Inquisitor's Blade. We haven't seen Inquisitor's Blade go off yet. A little unfortunate that our opponent's on the play here, because of course it makes it harder for us to get into this Crown Watch, although we wouldn't have been able to anyways. So this looks like the aggro on aggro matchup, I would say.
Draw, mister.
Yep. No attacks. Huh. That surprises me.
Bring you aid.
You should probably attack with at least one of the Grenadin Drone, I would think. It's gonna be tough for us to come back in with it. I'm not sure how we would kill, So they've got a torch, it seems. And the big question is, do I care about walking into a torch? I think the answer to that is no. I'm just not going to do it. Torch, maybe Rapid Shot, maybe.
Stone Scar isn't a place for the weak-hearted.
Funny, that being smaller actually dodges the Vanquish, which is kind of a problem. Copper Hull Elite does a really good job of just stopping everything. Because unless it's specifically Rapid Shot, they can't torch Copper Hull Elite. I'm going to attack with this, and then we'll play the Copper Hull. We play a little bit slower this game for sure than this Stone Scar aggro deck is probably going to. Deadly, yep. Hope that we draw like another Seraph or an Orc Record Keeper or something so we can vanquish and play something. Attack for 4. Yep, you got me. Opponent thinking. Are they going to Rapid Shot? Or are they just forgetting that they need to press it again? Hard to know. They could also be having internet problems. That's certainly a thing that happens. There we go. Alright. Opponent got there. Vanquish? I don't even really want to do that. I don't love the trade-offs that we have.
Defend the throne!
I think I'd rather just play Crown Watch and wait. I might even hold on to this power because we have so many Awakened students. I think it's a good idea. We're a long ways off from using the Seraph anyways, so this is fine.
Cover me!
Ashara. Ashara is a thing.
I'll never stop.
Let's attack for 5 in the air. Ashara is a problem, though. So they just attack with Ashara and a Grenadin. Yep.
All according to plan.
I think I'll just take the 8 for now, and then we'll probably be chump blocking with our 2-1 here in the next little while. We'll try and race. It's gonna be awkward.
Stone Scar isn't a place for the
Especially with
weak-hearted.
that. Ooh, Valkyrie Enforcer, right on time.
Halt!
So we'll just silence that, and now we're in decent shape again. Opponent thinking. It's gonna be a tight game. Hideout Pistol. They can only kill the Seraph. They can try and pop Aegis on something else. They're trying to kill this, but they can't do that. It's not equal to. It has to be more than. Interesting. I mean, I agree with this attack. They should be getting all in. It's just awkward for me. How do I want to play this? I mean, I could chump, block. It's a lot of bad news, though. You could block. We know that they have Torch almost for sure. Keeping a flyer seems like something we have to do. So let's take 5. Keep the stand together. Do they have double torch? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, not much I can do about double torch there. That was a really good draw. Not bad, though. 3-1 so far. You're gonna lose some games. You can't win absolutely everything. So, we'll go on to the finals and crush that one. Ooh. Well, this hand has the drill that we haven't actually managed to see yet, but the rest of it's pretty bad. We're relying very heavily on drawing power, and I don't think that's a good idea. We have a good hand. Our deck is consistent enough that we shouldn't keep hands like that. Although, yikes, this one could be a problem. Definitely. If we get an undepleted power source, then we're in decent shape, because we can lead off with the Crown Watch Paladin. And then that'll allow us to initiate into Inquisitor's Blade.
Time quickens.
Not yet, though. Again, undepleted power source would actually be great. Drill and Crown Watch. Nope.
Trust in your skills.
I'm gonna Unseen Commando. It's better for our power. They might have removal for it, but there's only so much I can do. Ooh, this is probably the deck that was winning the ETS this week. People tend to really go into that. I think that we attack with both and stand together. I know that seems weird, but it kills the Grip Knife Assassin, and it'll protect this from any removal. And this alone is enough to win us a game.
Halt!
Valkyrie Enforcer, sure. Pops the Aegis. There we go. At least we drew a single power so far.
Defend the throne!
I've got to imagine they have removal for this. Oh, just an Enforcer. That's not that bad for us.
Send a message.
Hammer of Might.
The
Yeah,
strongest
this hand is
weapon the spirit.
incredibly awkward. It's just developed in the absolute worst way. They might attack with both 3/3s now, which could give us a little bit of an opening. They didn't. Opponent is being very careful. I would have expected at least one of the 3/3s to get in. And they have Inquisitor Mako.
Cowards. You cannot hide.
Oh, goodness. We drew another 4, still stuck on 3. Ouch. Well, the thing to remember... Yeah.
Sharpen those
I would say...
swords.
Yeah, I'd say our opponent's hand has turned out a little bit better than ours. But the thing to remember, I was just going to say, is that we actually, if we go 3-2 here... Yeah, this is just over, unfortunately. We just don't have power. We can't play the game. So, well played. I would have liked to have played a game there, but I just didn't get to do it. That would have been an interesting hand. They had a really good game plan against us. It could have been very, very close between us. Like, we might still have lost, but if we had changed any one of those for a power, it would have been an interesting match. As it turned out, it just was kind of a blowout. But something to remember is that we won 3. That's 60% win rate. That's actually really good. People think that that's bad, but that's very, very nice. Like, getting a 60% win rate is perfectly acceptable. Anytime that you're over 50%, you should be fairly happy. You're gonna get screwed on power sometimes. You're going to have bad hands. It's just a thing that happens. I do tend to tilt myself a little bit. Like, it's easy to say and hard to follow. But it's good to remember that, like, if you're winning 3 out of your 5 games, that's really good. Like, a winning record is fine. Don't be upset about that at all. Hall of Famers in Magic get 60% win rates on GPs, like at big tournaments. So there's really nothing to be ashamed of having like a 60-65% win rate. That's very, very, very good, actually. In any case, I do like this deck a lot. Big shout out to TinMan. You can definitely check them out on Twitch. I'm going to include a link to their Eternal Warcry deck list down below because they have a gameplay video and everything linked. So if you want to see a little bit more of it, you can go and check out TinMan's channel. And I'll leave that in the description instead of my normal breakdown of the deck. So you can just go to the Eternal Warcry link instead, and you can export it from there. I do put all of my decks up on Eternal Warcry as well if you want to look at them there and you want to modify them, change them how you like, take a look at what I've removed and added and all that kind of stuff. So I have a bunch of different decks on there. In any case, I will see all of you wonderful people again next week. And you can check out my deck tech video that's coming out this week as well. It comes out Friday for any non-patrons and non-subs, and it will come out tomorrow for everybody else. So you'll get a little bit of early access for it. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.